Welcome to Mr. Screen. The Mad Titan has made several appearances in Marvel Comics, mainly in the saga to find the Infinity Stones. However, here I will bring up a much more advanced point, with Thanos without them, and even more so when he encounters Tony Stark again, but as the new Doctor Doom. Without further ado, let's get straight to the point. The rebirth of Tony Stark. After the defeat of Thanos and the restoration of the universe, Tony Stark was celebrated as a hero, the man who sacrificed everything to save the world. But the peace he brought was short-lived. In the vast fabric of the multiverse, a collapse began to emerge. Entire realities began to fragment, and no one knew exactly why. What few understood was that, even after death, Stark continued to live on in a darker, different, and corrupted form. Stark's death had broken the barriers between universes, and in a distant corner of the multiverse, Victor Von Doom found a unique opportunity. A master of science and the mystic arts, Doom used his knowledge to track down Stark's soul in the afterlife and resurrect him. However, Doom did not bring Tony back out of benevolence. He knew that together they could control all timelines. Doom, however, underestimated Stark. After being resurrected and forced to merge his mind with Doom's, Tony began to dominate the villain's consciousness, slowly taking control of the fusion. Eventually, Doom was no longer a separate entity. He became part of Stark. Now, Tony Stark was Doom, but not the Doom the world knew. He had evolved, and with Doom's power combined with his unparalleled intellect, he now held the multiverse in his hands. He called himself Dr. Doom Stark. Doom Stark's plan. With Doom's mastery of the most advanced technologies and the mystical power that Doom possessed, Doom Stark no longer needed to simply protect the world. He now controlled an intricate web of realities, and with him, he began to shape the multiverse according to his own vision. His goal was simple: eliminate the Avengers and every hero in every timeline, every version of every universe to ensure his supremacy. He knew that as long as any version of any hero existed, they would always pose a threat to his power. But Stark needed something more: an army. So he set his sights on an old adversary, the one who defied the laws of the universe and nearly destroyed Earth. He decided to bring back Thanos, the Mad Titan. Not with the Infinity Gauntlet or the gems, but as his personal servant, a warrior without cosmic powers but with a ruthless mind and the ability to devastate civilizations. Doom Stark believed he could control Thanos, just as he had controlled Doom. He opened a rift in time and space, accessing the exact spot where Thanos was disintegrated by Stark's snap. Using his technology combined with magic, Doom Stark pulled Thanos back to the world of the living. Thanos reappeared, his monumental body ablaze as he emerged from the dimensional rift, but without the gauntlet or any of his Infinity Stones. He was bewildered, but not weakened. As he opened his eyes, his deep voice echoed, "Why am I here, Stark?" Doom Stark, clad in armor that combined Doom's style with Stark's technology, floated down from a platform in the air. His gaze was cold and calculating. "I brought you back, Thanos, because I need you. Together, we can eliminate any vestige of resistance in the multiverse. You will be my servant, and together we will destroy the Avengers, every version of them, in every reality." Thanos looked at Stark with disdain. He had seen death, felt the void beyond life, and to his surprise, while he was dead, he found something he had never known in life: peace. "I was dead, Stark," Thanos said, his voice heavy with a lifetime of war. "And while I was dead, I was finally at peace. I will not return to being the warrior you desire." Doom Stark bristled. He had believed that without his godlike powers, Thanos would be easy to manipulate, but he had underestimated the Titan's willpower. The Mad Titan, even without the gauntlet, remained a formidable force. He refused to revert to his destructive nature. That was not in Stark's plans. "You have no choice, Thanos," Doom Stark said. "I brought you back to life. Your existence now belongs to me." Thanos did not answer. He braced himself for battle, even without the stones, his gigantic fists clenching, ready to challenge Stark. The chains of fate. Doom Stark, now filled with rage, raised his hand. With one smooth motion, he conjured a series of mystical chains that emerged from the ground like metallic serpents, ensnaring Thanos before he could react. The chains glowed purple and green, wreathed in runes that pulsed with an ancient, incomprehensible energy. These were no ordinary chains. They were the chains of fate, a mystical artifact drawn from the depths of the most ancient realities. They bound not only Thanos' body, but his very essence. He could not escape. What is this? Thanos grunted as he tried to free himself, but each attempt only weakened him further. He felt his strength waning as the chains tightened around his being. These are the chains of fate, Doomstark explained. They are forged for the purpose of binding entities such as yourself. With them, I can control you, or leave you here for all eternity. I do not need a rebellious servant, Thanos. I need someone who understands the true power I hold. Doomstark then lifted the chains and, with a flick, threw them into a portal. Thanos was pulled into a different dimension, a place where the rules of time and space made no sense. It was a prison built to contain those who would try to rebel against the new ruler of the multiverse. Thanos was thrown into a dark cell, his chains still squeezing his soul, rendering him powerless. Around him, reality was chaotic, fragmented. This was the multiverse of the chains of fate, a liminal space between dimensions where trapped souls had no control over time or space. Doomstark watched for a moment, satisfied with his work. You will remain here, Thanos, until you learn your place. Without another word, Doomstark closed the portal, leaving Thanos in his dimensional prison. To the new ruler of the multiverse, this was not a defeat. It was merely a correction on the path to his ultimate victory. The Avengers of the multiverse. As Doomstark continued his plan to eliminate the heroes of every reality, the Avengers began to realize that a new threat was at play. Across the timelines, heroes began to mysteriously disappear. Entire realities were being consumed, and those who managed to escape had only one word to describe the person responsible: Doom. Sam Wilson, the new Captain America, had assembled a small force of surviving Avengers. With him were Peter Parker, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, and an alternate version of Natasha Romanoff. They knew that to stop Doomstark, they would need more than just brute force. They needed to understand what they were up against. He has control of the multiverse, Doctor Strange explained. And he has Thanos, or did. If Doomstark is really bringing Thanos back, things could get worse very quickly. Peter Parker, still processing everything that was happening, asked, "But why bring Thanos back? He almost destroyed everything." Doomstark is smart, but this seems like a mistake. Strange shook his head. Tony Stark doesn't make mistakes. He wants to use Thanos for something bigger. If Thanos is being brought back as a servant, it means Doom has a plan that goes beyond just destroying universes. The Avengers' only hope was to find a way to access the Chains of Fate multiverse and rescue Thanos before Doomstark could bend the Titan to his will. The journey to the Chains of Fate, the Avengers discovered that in order to access the Chains of Fate multiverse, they would need a mystical artifact capable of breaking the barriers of the interconnected realities. This artifact was hidden deep within the Dark Realm, an inhospitable place where few dared to tread. Together, Sam, Peter, Natasha, and Doctor Strange set out on a perilous journey, traversing chaotic dimensions and facing realities corrupted by the power of Doomstark. Each battle was more difficult than the last, and the emotional toll of fighting twisted versions of their friends and allies weighed heavily upon them. As they continued on, Sam questioned the cost of all this. "How many more of these versions of us will we see die?" he asked, looking at the corpses of alternate versions of the Avengers they encountered along the way. Doctor Strange somberly replied, "If we fail, every version of us will die." After a brutal and nearly hopeless journey, they finally found the artifact, only to discover that it was guarded by an entity called the Doomwatch, a being who would not allow intervention in the fabric of time without a price. "You seek to break the chains of fate," said the Watcher, hovering above them. "But these chains maintain the balance of the multiverse. To tamper with them is to tamper with fate itself. Are you prepared to pay the price?" Without hesitation, Sam replied, "If this is what it takes to stop Doomstark, we are willing to pay any price." With a nod, the Watcher allowed them to take the artifact. But he warned, "Remember, the price of fate will always be exacted. The liberation of Thanos." Now with the artifact in hand, the Avengers prepared to confront Doomstark and rescue Thanos. They opened a portal to the multiverse of the Chains of Fate, where Thanos remained trapped, weakened but not defeated. As they entered the chaotic multiverse, they found Thanos trapped in his cell, the chains glowing around him. The Titan looked at them suspiciously. "Have you come to free me?" Thanos asked, his voice thick with surprise. Sam nodded. "We need your help to stop Doomstark. He's destroying everything. The entire multiverse is in danger." Thanos laughed, a deep rumble that echoed through the dimension. "You're fools. Doomstark has already won. Doctor Strange looked at him, his eyes full of determination. Not yet. With the artifact, they broke the chains and freed Thanos. He fell to his knees, exhausted but free. Even weakened, his presence was imposing. You have a choice now, Thanos, Sam said. You can help us stop Doom Stark and save the multiverse, or you can return to your eternal peace. Thanos looked at the heroes before him, considering the peace he had longed for and the chaos he had wrought in life. Finally, he stood, his eyes shining with his old determination. I will help you, Captain, he replied, but not for you. I do it for me. The peace I desire will never come as long as Doom Stark exists. The final battle. With Thanos now at the Avengers' side, they prepared for the final battle against Doom Stark. They knew that, even with their combined strength, the fight would be one of the most difficult they had ever faced. The fate of all realities depended on them. Doom Stark, now at the height of his power, watched from his multiversal throne, aware that his enemies were closing in. He knew it would only be a matter of time before they made their final move. But what Doom Stark didn't know was that, even with all his power, fate has its own chains, and not even he could completely control them. The battle for the multiverse was about to begin, and this time alongside an unusual presence. The vastness of space seemed endless, cold, and silent. But for Thanos, now imprisoned in the celestial prison, the silence was a relief. He, the Mad Titan, once the most feared being in the universe, had been held captive for a long time, his plans destroyed, his mission failed. The Infinity Stones were gone, and the balance he so longed for would never be achieved. Worse than his defeat was witnessing the birth of an even more terrible enemy, Tony Stark, now transformed into the ultimate villain, Doctor Doom. Stark, in an alternate timeline, had corrupted everything Thanos considered inevitable, taking unimaginable power for himself. A prisoner of cosmic forces, Thanos contemplated his existence with a mixture of resignation and fury. The stars twinkled on the horizon like distant memories of a past life. He had failed, and the universe would suffer the consequences. The chaos of Doom. Thanos remembered everything. He had seen Stark, the man once known as Iron Man, succumb to his ambition. Doom, in his arrogance, was not content with defeating the Avengers, or even defeating Thanos. He sought more, much more. After subduing the Titan and the multiverse, Doom imprisoned Thanos in the Celestial Prison, a place designed to imprison cosmic beings with enough power to threaten the universal order. There, Thanos was a mere shadow of his former self, stripped of his power, stripped of his gems. Yet during his long imprisonment, Thanos began to realize that Doctor Doom's true purpose was not merely to conquer realities. He had visions, scattered fragments of time and space that intermingled with his thoughts. And in each of these visions, he saw Doom approaching an even more ambitious goal. Doom desired something beyond total control over the multiverse. He wanted to consume all of Galactus's power, the devourer of worlds, and become a supreme deity. If he did so, not just one but all timelines, all realities would be destroyed. Thanos knew he had to act. He knew there was one being who could guide him to Galactus, the Silver Surfer, Galactus's ancient herald. He had to find a surfer before Doom did. The breakthrough. As Thanos planned his escape from the celestial prison, a familiar presence disturbed the fabric of reality around him. A portal opened, and out stepped Doctor Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme, his cape flowing and his gaze filled with determination. Thanos, Strange said, his voice firm, "We need your help." The Mad Titan laughed, a husky, dark sound. Thanos help. What do the heroes need now? Haven't they destroyed enough? Doctor Strange remained calm. You know that Doctor Doom is becoming a greater threat than any of us could have anticipated. He is accumulating cosmic power at an alarming rate. He wants the power of Galactus, and if he gets it, the multiverse will be annihilated. Thanos remained silent for a moment, his eyes fixed on the sorcerer. He had foreseen this. Doom was not interested in ruling. He wanted to consume, to devour everything. The Titan knew he could not allow that to happen. Even if he did not share the hero's ideals, the complete destruction of all that exists was not something he desired. "Release me," Thanos ordered, "and I will not interfere. But I am not here to ally myself with you, Avengers. My mission is different now." Doctor Strange hesitated, knowing that freeing Thanos would mean releasing an old enemy. But he had no choice. Strange gestured with his hands, conjuring a series of intricate incantations. The chains of energy that held Thanos captive began to unravel, one by one. "You have a vision, don't you?" Strange said. You know what is coming. Thanos nodded as he stood, his muscles tense from years of inactivity. I have seen what Doom intends to do, and I will not allow it. I will seek out the Silver Surfer, and he will lead me to Galactus. Doctor Strange stared at the Titan. And what will you do then? That sorcerer, Thanos replied with a grim smile, is not for you to know. The search for the Silver Surfer. Thanos, now free from his prison, traveled the cosmos, moving through wormholes and dimensional portals, always guided by his vision of the future. He knew that time was running out. Doom was getting closer and closer to Galactus, and once he obtained the power of the Devourer of Worlds, there would be no turning back. The Titan headed toward a distant galaxy, where legend said the Silver Surfer hid, far from the intrigues of the universe. He no longer served Galactus, but his connection to the Devourer was unbreakable. Thanos knew that if anyone could lead him to Galactus, it would be the Surfer. Arriving at a desolate planet on the edge of the galaxy, Thanos descended onto the barren ground. In the distance, a silvery figure gleamed in the dim light of a dying sun. Surfer, Thanos shouted, his voice echoing across the plains. The floating figure slowly turned. The Silver Surfer, once the herald of Galactus, faced Thanos with a calm but firm expression. What do you want, Thanos? The Surfer asked, his voice echoing with the weight of eons. I need your help to find Galactus, Thanos replied. Dr. Doom is hunting him, and if he succeeds in stealing his power, the entire multiverse will be destroyed. The Surfer was silent for a moment, pondering the Titan's words. And why should I help you, the man who has brought so much suffering to the cosmos? Thanos stepped forward. I am not here to save the universe, Surfer. Do not misunderstand me. My quest is not for redemption. But if Doom gains Galactus' power, there will be nothing left. Not for me, not for you. The Surfer considered the Titan's words. Though he was suspicious of his intentions, he knew Thanos was not lying. Doom was a real threat, and Galactus' power in the wrong hands could mean the end of everything. I will take you to Galactus, the Surfer said finally. But don't think for a second that I trust you, Thanos. Thanos smiled, satisfied. Trust was never something I wanted, Surfer. Just do your part. Encountering Galactus. Together, Thanos and the Silver Surfer traversed galaxies, dimensions, and dead worlds until they finally reached the abode of Galactus, the Devourer of Worlds. Galactus, a being of incomprehensible proportions, stood at the center of an abandoned galaxy, his body enveloped in cosmic energy as he absorbed the essence of a dead planet. The Devourer of Worlds sensed the approach of his visitors and slowly turned, his presence dominating the space around him. Thanos, the Mad Titan, Galactus' voice boomed. Why dare you approach me once more? Thanos stepped forward, unafraid. I have not come to fight Galactus. I have come to warn you. Dr. Doom seeks your power. He plans to consume it and destroy the multiverse with it. Galactus was silent for a moment, his cosmic mind weighing Thanos' words. He knew Doom, knew his insatiable ambition. Even for an entity like Galactus, the idea of a mortal being possessing his power was troubling. If Doom has his way, Thanos continued, everything will be destroyed. No universe will be spared. Not even you. Galactus fixed his glowing eyes on Thanos. And what do you propose, Titan? Thanos looked at Galactus, knowing he was facing a primordial force. I propose that we unite temporarily. Together, we can stop Doom before he reaches you. Galactus laughed, a sound that reverberated through the cosmos. You, the Mad Titan, ask for an alliance? What strange times these are. Thanos did not back down. I do not ask for an alliance. I ask only that you recognize that if Doom wins, even the Devourer of Worlds will fall. Galactus' silence lasted only a moment before he replied, I will accept your proposal, Thanos. But know that once Doom is defeated, our truce will end. Thanos nodded. So be it. Together, Thanos, the Silver Surfer, and Galactus now had a clear goal, to stop Doom before he destroyed all of reality. But Thanos knew that the battle that lay ahead would be unlike any he had ever faced. And deep down, he knew that his own intentions were not as noble as they appeared. As the vastness of the cosmos continued to envelop the trio, the Silver Surfer silently observed the alliance form between Thanos and Galactus. Something deep within him stirred, an uneasiness he could no longer ignore. While he knew that Dr. Doom posed a colossal threat, He also understood what it meant to join forces with Thanos, the Mad Titan, and Galactus, the Devourer of Worlds. It was an undeniable danger. Thanos, with his twisted vision of balance, and Galactus, who devoured planets without remorse, formed an alliance that could be as catastrophic as Doom's threat. The Surfer, once a herald of Galactus, knew of his former master's limitless power. But now, alongside Thanos, the combination was something that made him uneasy. He had seen enough of the destruction wrought by Thanos, and now, with Galactus as his temporary ally, the Surfer began to doubt the motivations behind this union. The Surfer's restlessness. As they traveled through space, searching for Doctor Doom's next move, the Surfer was deep in thought. Deep down, he knew that Doom was an unparalleled threat, but he also realized that if Thanos and Galactus truly teamed up, the results would be equally catastrophic. What was to guarantee that, after Doom's defeat, Thanos wouldn't use Galactus as a weapon of mass destruction? Thanos, the Surfer said, breaking the silence. "Why should we trust you?" Thanos turned his head, his expression calm and unperturbed. "I told you, Surfer. I'm not interested in saving the universe. But if Doom gains Galactus power, everything we know will cease to exist. I'm no fool." The Surfer remained silent for a few moments before answering. "And then what will you do when Doom is defeated? Will you use Galactus to satisfy your desires? Will you create a new empire, ruled by chaos and death?" The Mad Titan raised an eyebrow, intrigued by the Surfer's words. "My goal is to bring balance, Surfer. Something you, with all your morality, would never understand. I did what needed to be done once, and if necessary, I will do it again. But don't worry, I do not intend to continue this alliance forever." Thanos' words did not reassure the Surfer. If anything, they increased his suspicions. He knew that, like Doom, Thanos had a distorted view of what was necessary. Galactus himself, a force of nature, could not be controlled. The Surfer had already witnessed the destruction Galactus had caused. Billions of lives snuffed out without a second thought. The Silver Surfer's betrayal, the Silver Surfer's reflections turned to conviction. There was no way he could allow Thanos and Galactus to remain together, even if it meant going against his instincts. He flew ahead of Thanos and Galactus, guiding the way for Doom's next move. But his heart was heavy with the decision he knew he would have to make. Finally, in a secluded spot in space where the fabric of reality seemed thinner and the silence was almost deafening, the Surfer made his move. "I cannot allow this," he muttered to himself, before suddenly turning, firing a beam of cosmic energy directly at Thanos. The attack was unexpected, even for Thanos. The blast of energy knocked him back, his eyes narrowing in surprise. "Surfer," he growled, anger beginning to take hold. "What are you doing?" Galactus, for his part, watched the situation with cold calm, intrigued by his former herald's betrayal, but he did not immediately intervene. He knew the Silver Surfer was a creature of morality, and his hesitation to trust Thanos was not surprising. "What I am doing," the Surfer replied firmly, "is stopping two of the greatest monsters in the universe from uniting to destroy all that remains." Thanos wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, slowly rising to his feet, his gaze fierce. "You are making a mistake, Surfer." But the Silver Surfer did not hesitate. He attacked again, this time targeting both Thanos and Galactus. Cosmic rays tore the space between them, a battle of epic proportions about to unfold. The stealing of the board Thanos, even without the Infinity Stones, was still a cunning and powerful warrior. He knew that the Silver Surfer depended on his silver board, the source of his power and mobility. As the Surfer launched more attacks, Thanos quickly formed a plan in his mind. Biding his moment, he dodged an attack and, with his immense speed and strength, grabbed the silver board, separating it from the Surfer in one swift, brutal blow. The Surfer, now separated from his board, had lost much of his mobility and power. He floated helplessly as Thanos climbed onto the board, controlling it with his will. He sneered. "You are weaker than I thought, Surfer." Galactus, who had remained an observer until then, finally decided to intervene. He raised his hand, creating a barrier of energy around Thanos. "This betrayal is not what I expected, Thanos. You are becoming as unpredictable as Doom." Thanos laughed, but was now trapped in Galactus's energy barrier. "Unpredictable, perhaps. But you know as well as I do that I am not wrong." Thanos' escaped Thanos, realizing that the situation was getting complicated, decided that this was not the time for a final battle with the Surfer or Galactus. He needed to find another way out. Using his intelligence and temporary connection to the board, he He manipulated the Silver Board's energy to break through Galactus' barrier. The process was grueling, but Thanos managed to open a dimensional rift. With one last look at Galactus and a now weakened Silver Surfer, Thanos flew into the rift, disappearing from the battlefield. Now, isolated in some remote corner of the multiverse, Thanos was alone again. He had fled, but the peace he so desired seemed even more distant. He knew that both Doom and Galactus remained threats, but now he too was branded a traitor by all sides. The Mad Titan floated in the void, directionless, with no clear purpose. For the first time in a long time, he did not know what his next move would be. The stars around him offered no answers, only the same endless silence. He had lost control over the events he himself had helped to set in motion. Dr. Doom was still at large, plotting something much greater. Galactus continued to consume worlds, and now the Silver Surfer considered him a mortal enemy. Thanos, the once unbeatable, now wandered alone in the multiverse, unsure of how he could find the peace he so desired. All that was left was chaos, and for the first time, he was unsure of how he could control it. The birth of the Cancerverse. In one of the countless timelines of the multiverse, Tony Stark had been resurrected in an unexpected way. After his death, an unlikely fusion between him and Victor Von Doom created something new and dangerous. Dr. Doom Stark, an entity with Tony Stark's superior intellect and Doom's thirst for power and absolute control. With their combined abilities, he began to manipulate the multiverse in search of creating a new kingdom, an empire without death, without limits, the Cancerverse. The Cancerverse was a parallel dimension where death did not exist, and as a result, reality became perverse and distorted. The heroes of this dimension were not the saviors we once knew, but corrupted and evil versions of themselves. Steve Rogers, Captain America, became the Supreme General, a dictator obsessed with order. Thor had become an uncontrollable monster, corrupted by the power of Mjolnir. The Scarlet Witch, with her twisted magic, was now the Queen of Chaos. Even the Guardians of the Galaxy had been transformed into monstrous versions of themselves. Doom Stark ruled the Cancerverse, extending his tentacles into other timelines, seeking to incorporate these alternate realities into his own creation. His plan? To control the multiverse through the unlimited power he believed he could wield, creating an eternal empire where he would be the absolute sovereign. The fall of the heroes. As the Cancerverse advanced, the original versions of the heroes of the Marvel Universe began to be decimated. The Avengers, the X-Men, the Guardians of the Galaxy, they all fell one by one, as their corrupted selves replaced them in the shadows. Panic spread across the galaxies. In a very short time, Tony Stark Doom had infected a large portion of the multiverse, transforming it into his twisted image. The heroes' attempts to stop Stark Doom were all in vain. Stephen Strange, Doctor Strange, attempted to engage the Scarlet Witch of the Cancerverse in combat, but was quickly defeated. Thor, the god of thunder, was captured and corrupted, becoming a weapon in the hands of the General Supreme. Not even the Black Panther, with all his wisdom and advanced technology, could withstand the growing power of Doom Stark. The universe was on the brink of collapse, and it seemed there was no one left to fight it. The unlikely alternative. Amidst the chaos, a figure emerged, perhaps the most unlikely of all alternatives to save the multiverse. Thanos, the Mad Titan, watched from afar, contemplating the consequences of his own quest for power and destruction. The multiverse was out of balance, and though he had redeemed himself in another timeline, he now saw that Doom Stark posed a threat beyond anything he had ever caused. Thanos understood the multiverse in a way few could. He knew that the existence of the Cancerverse represented a rupture in the natural order of things. The universe needed death to thrive, for without it, life had no value. Doom Stark had broken that cycle, and now only someone with Thanos' willpower could restore balance. Even though it would be a nearly impossible task, Thanos accepted the burden. He knew that if he failed, the entire multiverse would succumb to the twisted madness of the Cancerverse. A quest for lost power. Thanos knew that to face Doom Stark, he would need more than his own strength. He would need to reclaim the powers he had once possessed with the Infinity Gauntlet. Although most of the stones had been destroyed, Thanos had discovered a way to access alternate versions of them in other realities. If he could gather these stones again, he would have a chance to defeat Doom Stark. His first stop was the planet Vormir, where an alternate version of the Soul Stone still existed. But to acquire it, he would have to face the Guardian of Vormir, who in this timeline was not the Red Skull, but an ancient and powerful entity known as the Silent Watcher. Thanos fought a fierce battle, but eventually managed to subdue the Guardian and acquire the stone. With the Soul Stone in hand, Thanos began to search for the others, traveling through realities destroyed by the Cancerverse, facing corrupted versions of the heroes he had once faced. Each fight was a painful reminder of his own actions, and each victory, a reminder that he now fought for something greater than power. He fought for the very existence of the multiverse. Encountering the old gods, the final stone Thanos needed to find was in a place where not even he dared to go. The realm of the old gods, cosmic entities that had existed since the beginning of time. To obtain the Reality Stone, Thanos would have to negotiate with beings beyond mortal comprehension. Upon entering this realm, he was greeted by the living tribunal, eternity, and death, the entity with whom he had once had a deep relationship. Death looked at Thanos with a mixture of anger and longing, and he knew that his return to her would not be so simple. "You seek the Reality Stone?" the entity Death asked, her voice echoing like the wind in the graves of 1,000 civilizations. "Why, Thanos? What drives you now? Power? Glory? Destruction? Redemption?" Thanos replied, his voice firm. "I seek to restore the cycle that Doomstark broke. The universe needs balance, and you know that more than anyone." Eternity and the living tribunal looked to Death, waiting for her answer. Finally, she nodded. "You will have the stone," Death said. "But know, Thanos, that even if you win, your fate will be forever tied to mine." With the Reality Stone in hand, Thanos was finally ready to face Doomstark. The final showdown. Doomstark, aware of Thanos' approach, prepared himself on his throne in the heart of the Cancerverse. He had corrupted all the alternate versions of the heroes, but he knew that Thanos was different. The Mad Titan was no mere pawn to be manipulated. He was a seasoned warrior whose willfulness could rival Doomstark's own will. "You have come far, Thanos," Doomstark said, watching the Titan's imposing figure approach. "But you cannot win. I am the creator of a new order, one where death does not exist and power is absolute." "You do not understand, Stark," Thanos replied, his voice reverberating through the distorted space around them. "The universe needs death. Without it, life has no meaning. You may have created this Cancerverse, but I will destroy it." With the alternate Infinity Stones glowing in his gauntlet, Thanos attacked. Doomstark, manipulating the distortions of time and space, fought back, creating shadow versions of fallen heroes to fight the Titan. Captain America, Thor, Scarlet Witch, they all appeared, but their souls were corrupted by the darkness of the Cancerverse. The ensuing battle was epic, with worlds being destroyed and recreated with each blow. Thanos, imbued with the power of the stones, fought not only against Doomstark, but against the twisted nature of the Cancerverse itself. Doomstark, on the other hand, was determined to keep his empire intact and showed no signs of weakening. Doomstark's trap. As Thanos and Doomstark continue their epic battle for control of the multiverse, the Mad Titan believed that the use of the Infinity Stones would be enough to reverse the imbalance caused by the Cancerverse. The stones were in his possession, glowing with cosmic energy, ready to be used to rewrite reality and restore the balance that Doomstark had destroyed. However, Thanos did not realize the true depth of Doomstark's cunning. During the battle, Stark was not only defending his twisted empire, but also laying an intricate trap. With his vast intelligence, Stark had studied the Infinity Stones in depth, developing a way to manipulate their energy to his advantage. As Thanos attempted to harness the power of the stones to rewrite the fabric of the Cancerverse, he felt an unexpected resistance. The stone's glow began to dim, and he realized too late that reality around him was shifting erratically. The Cancerverse, rather than being undone, began to react violently, bending and expanding. "Did you really think you could defeat me with the stones?" Doomstark said, his cold, contemptuous voice echoing through the distorted dimension. "I knew you would try to use them against me, so I created a trap within the stones. Now you are trapped here, forever." Thanos looked at the stones in his gauntlet, realizing that they had been corrupted. Doomstark, with his knowledge of the multiverse and the magical science he mastered, had implanted a trap within the stones, permanently binding Thanos to the Cancerverse. The stones were now useless to him. Their energy was being redirected to power the Cancerverse itself, strengthening it and trapping Thanos in a dimension that was a warp of reality. Before Thanos could react, Doomstark disappeared into a portal, leaving behind a victorious laugh. He had used the chaos of the battle to escape to another timeline, where he could continue his plans of conquest in a new universe, while Thanos was trapped in the twisted vastness of the Cancerverse. Thanos' lone struggle now trapped in the Cancerverse, Thanos found himself facing a twisted, hellish reality. The Cancerverse, without Doom Stark to directly control it, became even more chaotic and unpredictable. Corrupted versions of the heroes of the multiverse began to multiply, emerging as twisted, evil shadows, attacking Thanos from all sides. Without the Infinity Stones, Thanos was forced to rely solely on brute strength and cunning. He fought the relentless aberrations of the Cancerverse, an endless horde of evil versions of the heroes he knew. The corrupted Captain America, now the Supreme General, led a legion of zombie soldiers, while Thor, in his twisted form, rained thunder and devastation upon the chaotic wasteland. Even the Scarlet Witch, with her chaotic power amplified, became a constant threat. Every battle was a fight for survival, but Thanos, the Mad Titan, was a warrior like no other. He was driven by a new purpose, not destruction as in the past, but the desire to restore balance and eliminate the Cancerverse, the cancer that now threatened the entire multiverse. The thought of being trapped forever in this hellish dimension only fueled his determination. He knew that somehow he would have to reverse Doom Stark's trap and find a way to escape. Thanos' resistance. As he fought to survive, Thanos began to better understand the nature of the Cancerverse. He realized that while the Infinity Stones were corrupted and useless to him, there was still a way to influence this twisted dimension. The Cancerverse was, at its core, a corrupted reflection of reality, and thus still followed some basic rules of the multiverse. Thanos began to study his surroundings, realizing that the Cancerverse was fueled not just by the absence of death, but by the corruption of life. He theorized that if he could find the core of this corruption, he could reverse the process. Perhaps if he could destroy the heart of the Cancerverse, he could bring the entire dimension crashing down, weakening it enough to escape or even destroy Doom Stark in his next move. He traveled through the deepest reaches of the Cancerverse, encountering increasingly twisted versions of the heroes he had known. Each encounter brought him closer to a fundamental truth. The Cancerverse was not a pure creation of Doom Stark, but an anomaly that existed in the multiverse long before Stark had mastered it. Stark had simply shaped it to his own ends, harnessing its power and amplifying its corruption. The return of Galactus. As Thanos continued his solitary struggle, a familiar figure appeared on the distorted horizon of the Cancerverse. Galactus, the Devourer of Worlds, whom Thanos believed had been destroyed or corrupted by the Cancerverse, now stood before him, but not in the way he had expected. This Galactus was a shadow of his former self, corrupted by the absence of death, yet powerful nonetheless. Galactus was no longer a devourer of worlds, but a ravenous entity that fed on the very twisted existence of the Cancerverse. He had been absorbed into this dimension, becoming a blind force of destruction, without purpose or control. Thanos knew that to escape, he would have to confront Galactus and his insatiable hunger. The ensuing battle was one of the most intense Thanos had ever faced. Galactus, even corrupted, was a cosmic entity of unimaginable power. He unleashed waves of energy that distorted reality itself around Thanos. But the Mad Titan, driven by his unwavering determination, used his experience and knowledge of the multiverse to resist. Eventually, Thanos realized that Galactus was no longer a sentient mind, but a blind destructive force. Using his superior strength and cunning, Thanos was able to divert Galactus' energy back at himself, causing a devastating explosion that reverberated throughout the Cancerverse dimension. Galactus was defeated, his twisted body finally consumed by the very Cancerverse he had helped nurture. The journey continues with Galactus defeated. Thanos had a brief moment of peace, but he knew his fight was far from over. Doom Stark was in another timeline, preparing his next move, and Thanos remained trapped in the Cancerverse, racing against time to find a way to escape. He could feel the corrupted versions of the heroes beginning to regroup, and new aberrations emerging from the shadows. Thanos knew that if he didn't escape soon, the Cancerverse would consume him. "You may have fled Doom," Thanos said, looking up at the distorted sky, "but I will find you again, and this time I will be prepared." Thanos' journey was far from over, but he knew it was the only hope to restore balance to the multiverse. Alone, facing a universe of horrors, the Mad Titan would continue his fight, determined to defeat Doom Stark and save reality, even if it meant sacrificing everything. While Doom Stark plotted his dominion over new realities, the Titan was ready to pursue his redemption to the end, and this time, nothing could stop him. Time works in Thanos' favor. In another timeline, Doom Stark was confident of his victory. He believed that Thanos was forever trapped in the Cancerverse, but he didn't know that the Titan was slowly understanding the secrets of this twisted dimension. Thanos wasn't just a warrior. He was a strategist, patient and ruthless. The Cancerverse was still a prison, but Thanos was finding ways to bend it to his will. And when he escaped, and he knew he would, Stark would face a force he had never imagined. The final battle was yet to come, and the universe was about to witness the return of the true Mad Titan. And that was our story for today. What did you think of all this? Click the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos. Until next time, bye.